for this very important discussion.
Right. Let's straightly get to business. Beginning with Roland right here. I know the word is patriotism, but how would you describe this? What is your perception about patriotism?
I think that patriotism is something very important in the spirit of a country. And patriotism is also that aspect that will push people to stand up, you see, to stand up against injustice and all that. So it's very a feeling, it's a spirit that we must have for our country to be developed, because without patriotism, you don't have what is happening right now in West Africa with people that want to get their sovereignty back. You see, it's part of patriotism also. So it's a spirit that we must get on, and we must really, really, really do our best to be the most patriotic possible.
Great. What do you have to say about this wonderful word for you, our dear brother Talib?
For me, it's just the love you have to have for your country. So the love for your country, the love for your, I guess, the values, the values, the culture. And yes, like he said, that's a spirit that we all have to have. And to represent our countries, to love the country, to defend and have the best interests of our country at heart. So basically, to me, that is the definition of a patriotism. So to be always ready to defend your country, to love your country, and yes, make sure you are also part of the process that helps the country develop. Yeah, you play your role. Yeah.
Right, you play a role. But with all these beautiful words coming from the both of you, the next question is, what does patriotism mean in today's world, where we have the young people now wanting to take on the authority? And for that, let's hear from you, Peter Aditol.
Well, yes. So we've seen patriotism in the past. It has evolved over the years, and today it means something else. So when you take a panoramic view at how people of the past, if you look at our colonial leaders, those who fought for freedom, those who fought for democracy, those who fought through the toils of their blood, they gave up their freedom, they gave up their intellect, their resources to make sure that Africa becomes what it is today, the Nkrumah and so on. When you look at patriotism from that angle, it means that we are exchanging, or we are dying for a good cause. And so in today's world, that is a different ball game altogether, because we are faced with different frontiers. We are faced with different issues when it comes to patriotism. So the key question becomes, patriotism is love, sacrifice for your country. The key question is it even worth it to sacrifice for my country today, as it were 50 years ago, 20 years ago? That is the key question. Sorry, I'm going ahead of the curve, probably.
I know. But you stress a point in terms of comparison of those who sacrificed their love, their time. Are you saying that in current days, realities that we see, people are not killing themselves for their country? They are not sacrificing for their country, as compared to the names of Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela, and other African leaders, Sankara and other people?
Affirmative. We don't see that level of sacrifice, that level of love for the country, that level of love for your fellow citizen. All we see, or mostly, I wouldn't want to generalize it, but most of the time, what we've seen in recent times is people not being patriotic enough. If you look at the cases of corruption, how much we lose to corruption every year. I remember in 2016, 2017, we undertook a research. I was part of a research, and It will amaze you the amount of money we gain in terms of donations and aid, and how much we lose to corruption. Corruption is about double of the amount we receive in aids. And so the question then becomes, as a citizen, as a normal, regular, ordinary citizen of a country in West Africa, is it really worth it to kill yourself, to sacrifice, whilst others at the top enjoy the loot and share?
Okay.
So that also doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't sacrifice. But I think we'll get back to that. We'll get to that question.
Yes,
So I wouldn't
indeed, we'll get to that. Those reasons why many of these people don't want to trust their government, they don't want to have the time sacrificing for their country. But back here in studio, Roland, with that being said, do you think young people of your generation, of our generation, still feel deeply attached to their country?
I think it depends. You see, it depends really, because people of my generation, for most of them, sometimes they are not really clear on what they want to do. They are not really attached to politics, you see, for some of them, because youth is large, you know, something very large. And you see, for people of my generation, I think that they are getting more conscious, you see, and very like, the more the youth is aware, the more prosperous their future will be, you see. And I think they must be aware, for the people of my generation, they must first be aware, and after, I think that they'll be more attached to these subjects like politics and the love of the country, all that. And it's also due to the fact that people don't really think that politics are doing their work, you see. For some of the youth, that's what they think, but that's not really the case for some countries. So I think that people of my generation, for some of them, they are aware, but others, they prefer playing and all that, which is not my case.
Okay, Talib, to you, one would say patriotism is about the feelings, expressing love and sacrificing for your country. But in your opinion, what symbols or values represent the love of a country for which one should share?
So I have to say that nowadays everyone claims that they love their country, but it's not everyone, proving it. Yeah, it's really easy to sit here and say, yes, I love my country, but you have to prove it with actions. And when we focus on what the youth is doing right now, everyone is trying to leave the continent. It's like Africa is doomed or something. So everyone is trying to leave their countries, African countries, no matter the cost. Sometimes it's even the price is life, their own lives. So taking the boats and trying to cross the Mediterranean, so to join Europe, no. I think if you really love your country, no matter what the situation is, you have to stay there. You have to fight to make it a better place. Because those places that you are trying to go right now, like centuries ago, they were not the place where everyone wanted to be in. So for you to turn your current country, if you really love it, and you want to turn it into the best place, you have to make sacrifices. So you have to make sacrifices because
what are some of the sacrifices you think?
The sacrifice you have to make is first educating yourself, knowing how to choose the right leaders, putting the right people at the right places. And I think that's one of the issues that we have here in Africa. We don't know how to select the right leaders. We don't even know what the right leader look like because we have been duped for so long that right now it's like we are blind. We think for every election is problems. Every election is fights against different camps because of our politicians. So that's why I'm happy with what is currently happening in the countries and with the military leading, because at least those people, you can say they love their countries. At least you can say that this is someone who was ready actually to sacrifice his life for his country. And now realizing that things are not going well with the politicians, they took action. So the sacrifice is simple. Be ready to give your life for your country. If the leader in place is not doing what he's supposed to do, even though he has the army, the police, every forces, all the forces available for himself, you have to fight. If you fight, at the end of the day, the people has like the last word. The people has the real power. The people has it. So if you think the current situation with your country is not the best, like be on the streets, you have to fight to change it. Yeah.
All right. To you, Peter, let's talk about your point you were heading to, because Talib just stressed a very important point. Military people taking on the governance of the state as a result of maybe the loss of interest by the serviceman, or let's say the ordinary citizens who they place into power. But then, what do you think could be other reasons for which maybe not only young people, but citizens in general would not want to sacrifice for their country, would not want to do things that will progress the country's future? What do you think would be some of those reasons?
Well, so there are a number of things that were responsible for that. I mean, aside what we have earlier on discussed, which is more about a broken social contract. So between the people and leadership, there is a contract that when I come into power, this is what I'm going to do for the nation. I'm going to fix the roads. I'm going to create a better healthcare system. I'm going to improve upon education, so on and so forth. When that social contract is broken, whereas we continue to see the leaders spend money, haphazardly, let me put it that way, then the people lose trust in the system. And so they are no longer interested in sacrificing for the nation. I hope that point is clearly understood. So when we see that happen for us as a nation, then it becomes a problem. Then it becomes a problem for us. So we another thing. I mean, I'm also into development anyway. So the other thing is how development takes shape in the various countries. How has development been over the years, in the country? How has the nation progressed? Because people want to die for something that would bring progress to the nation. So you see Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Nelson Mandela, they fought for freedom. But today the struggle is more economical because a lot of young people are unemployed. We have a failing health system. And so what are we necessarily, what then becomes of our sacrifice? I'll give you a typical example. In the year 2000, the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, won the Nobel Prize. He got, I think, $1 million or so. He used that money not for personal gain. He used it to establish a university. The university is now the University of Development Studies, and was one of the public universities that was established, first public university that was established in the northern part of Ghana. He could have used that money to better himself, buy a yacht, buy a house in Europe, but no, he chose to sacrifice for the people of Ghana, even though he was no longer president. And this is the kind of sacrifice we are talking about. If you received that same money, would you do something for your nation?
But
it's a question.
Yeah, Roland stressed a very important point. That was actually Talib, with regards to choosing leaders. How people vote through a democratic process, especially within West Africa, becomes the problem, or the level at which their expectations will be met. So your choice will determine your future. What do you say about that? Is that a major factor that's also scaring away or killing the spirit of patriotism in young people?
It is, because really everything rises and falls with leadership. If the leadership doesn't show or leads by example, people would find it difficult to lead. When it comes to the election of political leaders or government leaders, it is very critical for the people to understand that they ask them the critical questions. Is this leader for us? Does he have our interest at heart? Does he even understand our needs? Because one of the key things for leadership is you are there to solve problems. You are there to make the lives of people better. These two key things: solve problems and make the lives of the people you are serving better. Simple and short. At the end of your tenure of office, if you cannot categorically state what you have done for your people, then you have failed as a leader. If there are still persistent problems that you wrote on campaign to solve, and those problems still persist even after you have served 2 or 3 terms in office, then you have failed as a leader. And all of these things has a way of poking holes in the very fabric of patriotism in the lives of people, and especially young people, because we are young, we are observing, we are watching. And so it is very critical that as young people, we do understand whoever we are electing into office. We understand if they are our interest is, they have our interest at heart, and if they have the the nation's interests also at heart. And I think one of the key ways you can do that is to understand where the leader has been from. What is their track record? What organizations did he lead? What change did he cause? So these will help us to know the kind of leader we are, bringing into office.
I will get back to you, but let me throw this challenge to the two guys in the studio before I send it out to you. It seems that from the deliberations of the three of you, it seems you are shifting more blames on the governance structure, on leaders, than young people. Aren't the young people capable enough of also sacrificing for their country in ways that would change the narrative of these leaders who they complain about, who they lost interest of the country as a result of their governance? Aren't you people thinking of those young people doing something else that will promote the country instead of just blaming the leaders?
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, because I got an example of a young lady. Her name is Fadima Diawara. She comes from Guinea in West Africa, and she got a smartphone brand which is Kunfabo. And you see, that's a way, that's in technology, you see, in the technology aspect, we can see that she came to Africa with it, and she went to do a project in Guinea with it. And it's also a way for her to develop her country, you see. And that can be another way for the youth, like to innovate, to develop their countries. And also concerning attachment to the politics, I think that the young people can have another way to come in that aspect of the politics. And also they can go in the administration, like slowly go in the administration, get the jobs, get the markets, you see. And the more the young people will come in these markets, in the world of the working, like when they're working, they'll also make a big step for their country to go far.
Okay, let's hear from you, Talib. What are you so much blaming governments than looking at young people's potential to change the narrative?
Yes, I think here, if the government will have to take like 90% of the blame. Why? Because they decide of the policies. When we talk about a country and its policies, it's the leaders who decides of the policies. They decide what are the economic policies, administrative policies. All the policies are in the hands of the leaders. They are chosen and put in place for them to choose the right direction for the country.
But young people should be on the table, and wouldn't you believe that young people are on the tables of decision-making processes, especially in West Africa?
I mean, look around. In all these countries we have in West Africa, it's old people leading. You barely see any young man or young female put in a position, like in a decision-making position.
But right here in your country, Senegal, you have young leadership.
Yeah, I guess Senegal is an exception, for example, if you take West Africa. But if you look the other countries, most of the time it's old people in position, because as African we believe that old people are always right. They are wise, and they are wiser, and they know. But times have shifted, things have changed, the world is evolving. Now, right now, you have to trust the young people because they know what they are doing. And, even with technology and all these things, AI and all these things happening in the world right now, we are not in the same dynamic. Things have shifted. So what we need to do, young people, they are doing what they are supposed to do. Because if you take the case of Senegal, when they were not happy with the policies and of the former president, the young people, they came out on the streets and fought to make sure that, things change. But the thing is, it's a cycle. Something is wrong with the country. The leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do. Young people go out on the streets, fight, and change things. But you have a new regime coming in and repeating the same mistakes as the previous one. Yeah. So it's like young people do what they're supposed to do, but every time change happens, it's like the new people in place are there only, for their own benefits. I'm not saying that's the same situation here in Senegal, because I know the people in place right now, they are doing their best to make sure things change. Because if you see the policies and, the decision they are making, that these guys, they really genuinely want to change how things are going in the country, how things, they want to see the country progress.
Okay.
But I cannot say the same for the other African countries.
Okay, we will get back to you. But let's hear from Mr. Adito there in Ghana. Just before President Mahama came to power, there was this huge concern about unemployment, facing a huge percentage of the Ghanaian population, which is represented by the young people. What can you say now? Did that resort to unpatriotic behavior of the young people? Did that lead to the young people not showing love, not showing interest in their country? And as compared to right now that you even have a new government and a new president, is it the same? Do you see young people showing love? In what way are they helping the country? In what way are they sacrificing to ensure the country gets better?
All right. So let me start from the angle of youth involvement or patriotism. Well, from whatever we have established at the beginning of this discussion, we have seen or we have agreed that indeed there is some form of unpatriotism in West Africa. And this is as a result of some form of leadership failure or ineffective leadership. Now, in the case of Ghana, this is what we would have to take into consideration. The government, the president promised a 24-hour economy, which is supposed to increase, employment within the country. Because if there's going to be one job but 3 different shifts with 3 different people, and so that means a job that could only accommodate one person is going to accommodate 3 people. Now that was very fantastic. We've seen a little bit of roll up in various sectors, but it's not in the. It doesn't cover the whole economy. However, when it comes to national development, one of the key things is that if there are no jobs, there should be an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, and that is one of the key reasons that is the key factors to curbing unemployment. During the World Youth Skills Day, I did share this with a number of young people across the world. This is what I said. As a young person, you should have 2 things. One, you should have employable skills, or number 2, you should have entrepreneurial skills. So if you don't have the skills that the corporate world, desires, you should develop a skill that will enable you to start a business, sustain the business, grow the business, and be able to employ other people to join you. It's as simple as that. Now, if the government is able to, create an enabling environment, for instance, in Ghana, before the government took over, the CD was performing quite abysmally. We had $1 to about 17 cedis, which was quite high. Very, very, very high way of doing business in Ghana. However, 6 months into the new government's administration, a CD is now to about 10 cedis, 11 cedis, which is quite better. If you are going to do import and export, definitely the foreign exchange wouldn't really affect you as compared to before. And that is the kind of environment and change we are looking for. Once people begin to see that, okay, there's improvement in the system, they begin to open up their hearts and then to be patriotic, and love their country the more.
Lovely. Well, so far we have listened to interesting interactions with our guests on this 45th episode of Take the Lead in the year 2025. Let's now travel to Monrovia, Liberia's capital city, and listen to some young people's views about patriotism, including if they are sacrificing for the nation. Our correspondent in Monrovia, Abraham Parker, spoke with them.
Indeed, in Monrovia, we've come to get the views of young Liberians when it comes to patriotism, how well it is for them. And we have this young man.
Ishmael Logan.
It's great to have you on this conversation. Young people and patriotism. Tell us how well you love your country, Liberia.
Every citizen, irrespective of what you subscribe or ascribe to, you must love your country. Because prior to becoming the kind of people we are, we were Liberian citizens. So it's important that we, prioritize our country. Most of us young people, we've not really put the love of our country above.
So what is your own take? How well do you love your country?
Well, I love my country a whole lot. So, in the midst of the different challenges in terms of the economy, the issue of corruption, lack of opportunities, these should not be vices that will, distort our mind, that will take our mind away from loving our country.
What is that one thing you love about your country?
I love our Liberian colloquia.
Okay.
Yeah, the way we do our normal interaction. This is where people find it difficult to say the Liberian colloquia is difficult to speak like a Liberian person.
Thank you, Ishmael. We have another young person here. Good afternoon. What's your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Prince Cover.
Okay, Prince, it's great to have you on the Take the Lead.
Yeah, I do love my country, and it's easier to say you love your country, but I do think it comes with some responsibilities. I mean, loving country is not just a word, right? It's an action, okay? You owe it to your country. Love must be expressed. You want to be a patriot, you owe it to your country. It's not just about the men who I am. Whether you are a nurse or a doctor, you owe it to taking care of Liberians, who are your citizens also.
I like the way you place it. It is not just about you as an individual. What have you observed about your country as a young man when it comes to patriotism?
I think people see it more like a lip service. People will say they love their country, they want to associate with their country. Sometimes you see them even with the national emblems like the flag. But when it comes to portraying those attributes that one will see and say somebody love their country, honesty. People work in public service. They are not honest to their own country. They exploit the country. But at the end of the day, you hear them preaching patriotism. Oh, I'm loyal to my country. Liberia is my country. But there are people who get places better than home. And they make those places convenient for themselves than home. The country is underdeveloped. But we take resources from here, we transfer it to the other country. So it's just a lip service. That's how I see it.
Are you doing something different as a young man where you place your country first in that particular thing you do?
Yeah, in my own way, I try to do whatever I can do. Everybody get their area of calling.
Okay, Prince, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
Another young man. Good afternoon. Tell us your name, sir.
My name is Emmanuel Cole. I'm a Liberian, and I'm the president of the Young Liberian for Progressive Change. I think patriotism is about taking upon responsibility and commitment to country. If you love your country and you take the responsibility and the commitment to protecting the constitution of our country, I think you patriotic.
From 2020 up to 2025, the length of your institution, what have you come to understand about patriotism, most likely with the people you work with?
I think it's one of the things that we've struggled with. People really don't understand what patriotism is. And if you've tried to make them to understand, they feel like President Joseph Wagala, President, is showing enjoy and I mean. So they feel like those that are in highest height, they are the ones should be patriotic.
Okay.
Not those that are struggling. So these are things we continue to tell them. He said, no, it's not necessarily because Joseph Boakai is a president and you're expecting to be patriotic than you. Being patriotic is being committed and taking up responsibility.
In addition to what you do, before we take leave of you, what do you think can be done that vast majority of the citizens can love their country?
When I was in high school, we had civics as a subject. I'm not sure this has been practiced now in high school. It helped some of us in terms of understanding the constitution of our country. There's a need to reactivate civics in school, especially high school, for people to understand these common things leading to being a patriotic person.
Thanks to WADR's Monrovia correspondent Abraham Parker engaging some young Liberians on the streets of Monrovia about patriotism.
Hey people. My name is Mello, Afrobeat singer from Guinea, and I love listening to the program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
Hello, my name is Patriotism. I'm the CEO of African Start Shop, and I love listening to your program Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio.
And so welcome back to Take the Lead, your finest youthful platform that sets the agenda for topical discussions all about young people within West Africa and beyond. We are streaming live on YouTube at WADR, on Facebook, WADR English service. Let's quickly recognize our partner radio stations that often rebroadcast this program. Beginning with Nigeria, we have Darling FM in Nigeria, and we have Nenzit FM in Kaduna State. We have Love FM in Abuja. Crossing over to Liberia, we have Alternative Youth Radio in Lofa County. We have DCN Radio in Riverses, Kwatika Radio in Bangabong County, and we have Radio Bombing in Bombing County, Western region of Liberia. Crossing over to Sierra Leone, we have African Young Voices in Freetown, Radio Bath in Mal, Hands of Hope in Freetown, as well as Eastern Radio in Kono District. For Ghana, we have Radio Path in the Savannah region. We have Royals FM as well. Now let's cross over to the Gambia, where Numi FM as well as Radio Veritas are our partner radio stations that often rebroadcast this program. So once you are in those countries, be assured that you will listen to a rebroadcast of this program. Now, let's get back to solutions, possible solutions. What are the proposals? I know for you, my guests and listening public, you listen to some young Liberians. Firstly, what do you make of their views about patriotism, Roland?
I think that they have a really good idea of what patriotism is, and they have a big future in front of them. Like with that vision of patriotism, I think that they have a really good vision, and it's something that we must salute, because it's also an aspect that is very important for Africa's development, and especially West Africa development. And I think that in Liberia, they got a really good idea of what patriotism is, and I hope that for the next generations, patriotism in Liberia will take the people to grow up and develop the country.
Okay, for you, Talib, is it only about showing that attachment to the flag of your country, or maybe the symbols of the state, rather than civic or maybe cultural or societal commitment? Are they all to showing patriotism?
I think it's a mix of all of the things that you just cited, and I think one of the young men stated it clearly. You know, you cannot just say I love my country without actually showing it, without proving it. And you know what we see in Africa is a lot of young people, they only show love to their country only when the national team is playing, the national football team.
That's true.
Yes, when the national football team is playing and winning, everyone is in love with their country. But when it's losing, you see certain behavior. So I think as young people, we also have to stop complaining. We complain a lot as African people. We spend a lot of time complaining. We should be focusing on taking action. Okay. If you see something is wrong with in your community, try to come together and find a solution. Don't always wait for the government to come and do something. We live in poor countries. We have to be realistic. No. You live in a poor country with limited budget, limited funds. So if the government is not there to make things happen, take action. The other day I was watching a story in Mali. The guy was living in a remote village, and they live in the mountains, so it's complicated for transportation and things like that. But one villager, one man living in the village took action. He created a whole tunnel every day, going there on the mountains digging, and created a whole tunnel, and now everyone is using that tunnel for transportation. So he saved people money, he saved people time. But in the beginning, everyone in the village was calling him crazy, because they said this guy, everyone is working in their like farm, trying to make money, trying to grow something for their business, but the man was just working for the community every day, making sacrifices. Let's take a leaf out of that person's book.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from you, Mr. Adetol. What are your recommendations? How would you want the young people to engage in a form that will ensure patriotism to their state or countries?
I think my last speaker said something that really resonates with me. As young people, I think it's time for us to stop complaining and start acting. There's a lot we can offer our nation. There's a lot we can do for our nation. And if we do not do it for our nation, now that we have the energy, we have the time, we won't be able to do it when we are young. So let's put our hands to work. For the government, I would say transparency goes a long way to ensure that the people can trust you and to ensure that people love the country even the more when they see that things are going better, not just in football matches, national football matches. And just as our speaker said, it's not just about even being part of national football competitions and global competitions, but even winning after. If the country doesn't win, then everybody goes back to, cost 90. So it's very important that as nations, I love my country. I mean, I'm so happy that I was born a Ghanaian and an African for that matter. But it's not just an affirmative word you say in the morning or in the evening. It is something you need to act on daily with your actions, with your decisions, and with your engagements. Are you putting Ghana first? Are you putting West Africa first? Are you putting Africa first in whatever you are doing? And I think that is where we need to start from. Then, in being intentional about ensuring that young people, especially growing up, people, these values are imbibed in people. We learn the national anthem in school, and these words are not just words; they are spirit and life. There's a lot in there. We are telling, "Arise, Ghana youth, for your country. The nation demands your devotion." This is a call to action. There's a lot of, things within the national pledge and the national anthems, and we need to start living by them. And I think from that angle, we can build or rebuild the patriotism that every citizen needs to show for their country, that love, that concern, because we need to care for your community so that you don't even pollute the environment. It's just like going to the washroom and leaving the seat anyhow, not caring about the next person who will use the washroom. Once you go, you have to clean it up so that the next person comes to meet a clean sheet. But we have people, when they go and it's unclean, they don't care. They also make it unclean and leave it, and it becomes a whole sort of issue. The same with keeping our environment clean. The same has to happen. I mean, when it comes to even indiscipline in our nation.
Yeah. Just for 1 minute, because we are in a digital age where we have the social media now. It's influencing a lot of things in the world. How do you think young people can use this social media? And in terms of also education, it's the aspect of love for country or patriotism a necessity to be taught in schools, to be taught at family value level? Quickly before we leave you, sir.
So am I going?
Yes.
All right. So awesome. So it's very necessary. One way we can do that is through storytelling. In Ghana, we have Kwekwa Nancy, who is a hero, a community hero. But I think some of the stories there are quite too strong. So I'll say storytelling, telling people about the beautiful things about country. Look, Africa is very rich with a lot of resources, with a lot of landscape, with a lot of good things. Our culture is very rich, and it will take us to tell our own stories. I was on TV the other day, and I made mention of when Barack Obama came to visit Ghana in 2008. He said something. He said, "Africa will only develop by Africans, true Africans." If we do not understand that the responsibility lies upon us to tell our own story. They said, until the lion learns to tell the story, the story always glorifies the hunter. And these are facts. If we do not tell our story, who is going to tell our story for us?
Okay.
And so this is our time to rise above, everything. Tell people about the beautiful things that are happening in our countries, our various countries, our resources, our resorts. Sell West Africa, sell Senegal, sell Cote d'Ivoire,
Sure.
sell it to the world. Let people believe that your country is a great country.
Thank you so much, Peter Aditoro. It was a pleasure having you with us, and we hope that you can be available another time for another wonderful conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's also give you your 1 minute. Roland, you want to talk about this social media trend and how the young people can use that, to be patriotic to their nation.
Yeah, I think that compared to the former generation, our generation got a lot of tools, and social media is one of the biggest tools that this generation can have. You see, and they can use that tool of social media for the next generations also to be informed, to be more patriotistic. Because if this generation, I mean my generation, is gaining in patriotism, I think that for the generations to come it will be better. You see, and this is why we must be patriotic, because the responsibility relies on us. You see, and if we are responsible, the future generations will be also.
Finally, to you, Talib.
Yes, I think we need to spend less time dancing and doing those trends, social media trends, and wasting time. So I think we need to stop those things and stop promoting, heroic acts. For example, you are in your country, you see someone do something heroic, something patriotic, you can promote it on social media. Promote your culture. Promote the positive aspect. Because if you take all those developed countries, if you go there, they will only promote the nice things about their countries. They will never show you what is negative. So I think as Africans, we need to stop promoting, letting people, even people coming from abroad, coming here and letting them access things that they should that we should not maybe show to the rest of the world. Let's promote the positivity, the heroic acts, the patriotic acts, and let's stop wasting time on TikTok trends or dancing or showing things or comedy. We don't have time for that. We have a lot to do.
Wonderful. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Talib, and thank you, Peter. Well, listeners and viewers, this is where we conclude the 45th episode of Take the Lead here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM on YouTube at WADR, on Facebook, WADR English Service. It's been an amazing time having you with us. Please join us next Friday for another live edition of this program. Remember to take the lead in shaping the discourse for the betterment of young people in Africa. My name is Augustine Cully, wishing you all the best.
Take the Lead is back in 2025 with a brand new format. Yes, your youth exchange space will now be broadcast live every Friday at 4:05 p.m. Universal Time. And that's not all. Dear internet users and WADR subscribers, you have the opportunity to experience the show live and direct on our online platforms on Facebook at WADR English Service and on YouTube at WADR. Take the Lead every Friday from 4:05 p.m. Universal Time and rebroadcast same day at 1 a.m. Universal Time. Also on every Tuesday, your youth program will be rebroadcast at 7:15 a.m. and 4:05 p.m. GMT. Take the lead and champion the discourse for the betterment of young people.